Before now, I've only seen a few scattered episodes of Attack on Titan, but I did like the episodes that I saw, so I've really been looking forward to watching the series from the beginning. The first episode basically introduces the world that the show takes place in. We see a human city surrounded by an enormous wall, and that's actually set into an even bigger wall that stretches out in either direction for who knows how far. It looks like they'd have to level an entire mountain range just to build this thing. But of course, the reason for that is to keep out the Titans, these giant creatures that eat people. We see a few of the main characters as children, specifically a boy named Eren and a girl named Mikasa, and these two complement each other very well. On one hand, Eren is very driven, he's very determined and fiery. Whenever he sees something bad happening, he wants to just get in there and make everything right. But he's also very weak, and most people consider him to be a pushover. On the other hand, there's Mikasa, who really doesn't seem all that interested in anything, she just kind of follows Eren around. But she does have all the physical strength. I mean, she can throw down like it's nothing. There's a great scene where Eren sees a group of bullies beating up one of his friends, and he starts running at them like, "I will stop you for great justice!" And they all laugh at him like, "Oh look, it's Eren, he probably wants to get his ass kicked again." But then they look past him and see Mikasa, and they're like, "Oh shit! Run!" I mean, you just do not mess with this girl. We also see the military, and I forget what they're called specifically, but every soldier is equipped with a series of gas-powered grappling hooks called omnidirectional gear. And the reason for that, as we'll learn later, is because the Titans are only vulnerable to being cut through the back of the neck. So the only way to really fight them is to grapple up to their level, pull out a sword, and turn into a human buzzsaw. All while these things are trying to eat you, which they often do. But getting back to Eren, we also learn that he wants to join the scouting brigade because they get to go out past the wall, and he thinks it's kind of messed up that people spend their whole lives in the city without really ever going anywhere. And dang it, he has all these big goals and dreams, and I can show you the world. At one point, he gets into an argument with a soldier named Hans or Hannes. I don't know, I'm watching it in Japanese and they kind of alternate with how his name is pronounced. But anyway, Hans has all his gear and he's supposed to be guarding the inside of the city, but all he really does is sit around drinking and laughing with his buddies, and Eren yells at him like, you're just lazy, you sit around getting drunk all day. I mean, what happens if a Titan shows up? How are you supposed to do your job? And I'll give Hans credit here, he could just blow Eren off, but instead he explains the situation to him. He says, "Look kid, you're being stupid, because number one, there hasn't been a Titan attack here in over 100 years, and I'm only 2 weeks away from retirement, so you know how that's going to turn out. Number two, I'm fine with everyone thinking I'm lazy, because if I have to actually use this gear, that means there's a Titan inside the city, and if that happens, then we're kinda fucked already. And three, you want to be a scout? Everyone who goes out there dies. That's why everyone likes it in the city, not because we don't want the Titans gone. In fact, we even see the scouting brigade come back from a mission, and there's an old woman who turns out to be the mother of one of the soldiers, and they give her his remains, which at this point the only thing that's left is an arm. And even as she's grieving, she says, well, was he at least useful? Did he help you? And the captain just breaks down and goes, no, we haven't accomplished a goddamn thing. Later we meet Eren's parents, and his dad says, well son, I have to leave on business, but in 2 weeks when I get back, yeah, he really does say 2 weeks that time, then I'm gonna show you this really important secret special thing that I know you really want to see. By the way, did I mention your mother is also 2 weeks away from retirement? Anyway, I'll be right back. So of course a massive Titan shows up that knocks a hole in the wall to let all the smaller Titans in, and I'll just say one of my 2 weeks prophecies comes true, and that's the end of the episode. One thing that immediately stands out is how the Titans are drawn, colored, and animated in a completely different style from everything else in the show. I imagine that was probably done to illustrate how otherworldly and strange they would look to the human characters, because let's be honest, most of the Titans look pretty damn goofy, so you have to do something stylistically to show how intimidating they are. I'm still not sure why the decision was made to have them making silly faces. I suppose you could argue that when something horrible is happening, it's a lot creepier to see someone smile than if they were trying to be scary, and oddly enough, I think it works and fails at the same time. There are times when the Titans are really threatening, but at the same time, I don't know anyone who watches the show who hasn't laughed at these things at least once. Overall though, I think this was a great first episode, and it ends at just the right moment where you want to see what happens next.